All right, we are reacting to Champ's favorite song ever by band Maid, Chemical Reaction.
This was voted by you guys.
Yeah, he's hyped. Look at that hypeness. He's just so excited to hear his favorite song of all time.
Now,
Hype train.
We've all heard this song, so we're going to check.
All right, here we go. Hit play, somebody.
Oh.
Does anyone else have the song playing in their head right now?
Is this the sound? I don't think the original sound's on.
Mine's on.
It is?
I heard it there.
I can hear it.
Huh.
It's fine.
I just heard like quiet little pitter patter. Was it playing?
That's normal, yeah.
That's like intro stuff.
Oh, okay. I thought the song was going. Sorry.
Is it just me, or is like for me, I like look at Psyche different now after seeing her live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. But I think this is taken from like one of their, is it Day of Maid or something?
Mm.
Oh.
This is like official footage put up as not official footage.
Oh,
Okay.
Are we allowed to use
Because
this?
it's
Well,
definitely
we're
pro
on
shot.
Patreon.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be okay on Patreon.
Okay.
We're on Patreon. We should be fine.
Yeah. All right.
But I don't know.
But yeah, I
like-
agree, dude. Like it would be performed differently now, I think,
oh yeah.
by Psyche. Not that it's bad, but I think it would be a little, yeah.
Well, yeah, and this isn't in front of an audience, so there's not the same
Yeah.
kind of energy.
I was gonna-
You should listen to just the original track.
I was like, I'm actually enjoying it, but when I was seeing her, I'm like, I have like this whole new appreciation for her. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
it doesn't even bother me, which is funny because maybe it would have before I saw her live. You know what I mean? But right now, I'm just like, it's just reminding
More of
me.
a personal connection now.
Yes, exactly. Because when I see her now, I'm like, I don't even care. Like, it reminds me of like, oh yeah, I saw her like right here. You know? I don't know. It feels different. I don't know. But
Nice.
Did you guys want to go to the original track, or we're gonna keep on this? Or
No, I think this is fine.
Ryan's okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Sweet. Yeah.
All right.
I just gotta say, like, the one thing I noticed watching them live is all of their riffs, even no matter how simple they sound, when you watch Konami play them or Misa play them, like they're doing so much more
Fuck yeah, dude.
on the fretboard than you think they are by listening to
Yeah,
it.
this sounds like a dun 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 dun, and her hands doing shit the whole fucking time. It's like, what are you playing? What are you playing?
I noticed that
sounds
too
simple.
with like the riff in Dice. Like it sounds like a relatively simple riff, but then I watch her play it and she's like doing all these like
That's
full power chord riffs up, the
inverted power chord. It's
yeah,
yeah. I
Yep.
love that riff.
but
so
like
much,
playing it as a riff instead of just what it sounds like. Anyway, it's
Yeah.
it's crazy how layered it is. That's all I have to say.
Hmm.
All right. That little riff. All right.
Hell yes.
Okay. Cool. So that was Chemical Reaction Live.
And Champ didn't
Well,
use a
kind of
pause.
live.
Champ didn't use a pause. What?
I did not use a pause.
I thought for sure you'd pause on that song.
I was looking for a moment that I felt like I needed to.
It's your
And
favorite song in the
I
whole world, and I thought for
did
sure
not
we'd
find
get a
that
pause.
Didn't have any reason to. So
Wow.
didn't change a thing.
Man, I really wanted to have my mind changed here if I'm telling you the truth. I will say that like watching it live, there's a little bit more appreciation, like what Ryan was talking about, and Wave saying that, like, when you look up close at it, you see them doing stuff that you almost don't even hear, right? And that's cool and all, but like I want to hear it. I guess I feel like if they are doing way more than we're hearing, it's not having an effect on me, because it still
I
just
heard more in
sounds
the
like they're
album.
doing what I'm hearing.
I heard more in the album version, actually. I feel like there was more
I
in
like
the album version.
a lot better.
Yeah.
I do think.
Go ahead.
I think the second half of the song is much better than the first half of the song. I think that it gets interesting once Konami starts doing a little bit of her leads and stuff like that. But like the first 2 minutes of the song, where it's just like, it's one of their slowest tempo songs, I think, right? And it's mostly chords, or at least it sounds like it's mostly chords. I don't really find that any of the members are doing anything to their strong suit in this song. Like, I think that they're all more capable of doing more, which is why I think that this one doesn't really resonate with me that much.
What are you gonna say, Ryan? After that?
Well, I think oddly enough, what you list as kind of reasons why you're kind of meh about the song is what I like about it. I like that it's just a driving, like a fucking driving kind of song. It just has a repetitive riff, and it's so fucking heavy that I know they can do a lot more, but they don't always have to be at their limit. I like hearing them do something fucking just powerful and with a groove to it, with a killer fucking solo. And I don't know. I think it's cool hearing them do something a little simpler, but still have it just be as good as anybody else that would do a song. Like, not as good as anybody else, but let's be. I don't know. I just fucking like it.
It's
The
classic
simplicity of
rock.
it, just how much of a driving fucking rock song it is.
And the the heaviness of the song too is it's one of the few songs in D standard also.
I have some thoughts just on this particular live performance. It was during the COVID times where they couldn't be actually out on the road, and Psyche, you could see like this is actually one of the things about Psyche that reminds me of Rosie. They don't hide their emotions at all. You know, you can kind of tell what they're feeling by looking at them, and you could tell Psyche was pissed that they had to be playing for no audience. And
I feel like they looked bored.
Yeah, this whole, in my opinion, after seeing them live and how great they can be live, this is a super uninspired and like kind of not enjoying themselves performance, you know?
Yeah.
And it just comparing it to what this could be, and the mix sucks, like, and the video quality is 360p, which wasn't their fault. It was just the video we have. But like, there's so many things going against them just because of what this video is, where I know if they played this live on their tour with an actual audience, it would be so much better.
Would have seen them having so much more fun with it. Being able to move is not like one of the more complicated songs we'd see. It'd be fun to see you do it now. Like, really fun.
It almost felt like Konami was bored too. Like, she was missing a couple like really simple notes in the lead riff. Like, it just felt like they weren't feeling it that much in this performance.
I love how that beginning lead riff is like just a slide madness in the beginning. Like, it's that the whole like the it's not like, it's just a sliding on one string the entire time. I was like,
oh really?
That's the cool thing about that song.
So it's harder than it sounds.
Yeah, it's harder than it sounds because it sounds simple, but it's not. It's not as simple because like that she's doing that wah whammy effect with her hand. Like, that's what's cool. I love guitarists that do that when they put the emphasis of the effects in their hand rather than pedals. I mean, she's using pedals, but that beginning one is just sliding it. She's just sliding on one string, on the D string the entire time. And that's why I think it's so cool, because she could have just played it straightforward, like da na 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 na, but instead she's going wow 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 wow.
She took a page from Misa's book right there.
Yeah, but it's just cool. I don't know why it didn't bring me down like it did with you guys. Like, I was like, oh, this
I don't
cool.
think the performance. I don't think the performance hurt my enjoyment of it at all. To tell you the truth, that didn't bother me. Like what Wave's saying about that for him. It's literally just like when they brought that riff back in the middle of the song. That's my favorite part of the song. Like when that after the second chorus, they bring that intro riff back, play it a couple times before they start with the bridge. I've said it before. A bridge can make or break a song for me big time, right? And I think that because, like Ryan said, there's a lot of repetition to this one. Once the bridge comes up, you can make me like this song by being like extraordinarily creative in that area, even if the rest of the song is repetitious. And I felt like this bridge followed the rest of the pattern of the song, which was like, it didn't really do anything new from there. So like, I'm waiting for the bridge going, okay, so what are they going to do with this part? And it ends up being the intro riff and then a solo, and then it's over. And I'm like, okay, well, that's pretty much as simple as a bridge can get. And I totally get your point also, Ryan, where you're saying like, they don't have to always be going hard and complicated. And like, I think that they have other songs that I like more than this one that are also not complicated. Like, I don't really look at Dreaming, for example, as like a super complicated, Daydreaming as like a super complicated song. But I really, really love it because I feel like it evokes emotion in me. This one, I feel like, it's got a groove. I can head bop the whole time along to it. I just think it's, I would like maybe a lead thrown in there.
There's nothing to wait for. There's nothing to hear later.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think that's the problem for me. Like
basic structure.
Yeah, it stays at that basic structure. Maybe if there was something towards the end of the song, and that's why I did like the second half of the song better than the first half of the song, because eventually Konami does start throwing in some leads, and then at least takes the basic structure and like adjusts it a little bit. But I think I kind of missed the idea of like, with Bandmade, how often is their second verse different than their first verse? Like 99% of the time.
Like
And this
so
one,
much
Yeah.
that that's the norm. When it doesn't happen, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, I could see you being like, oh, this is interesting because they didn't do that this time, but I think I'm just thinking like, oh, well, it's the same verse. I just heard it.
I don't know, man. They have other songs that are very similar to this structure, but this one's still more
Thrill is similar in structure
Yeah,
to that.
early
Yeah.
Yeah,
songs.
but that's fun as hell to play though. That's a cool
Mhm.
fucking riff.
Yeah, Thrill is really fun. But
Even
Love that riff.
okay, so like even Manners, I think is similar structurally to a song like this, but I think that the things that they're doing in the verses and the pre-chorus are like more interesting than what they're doing in this song.
Oh, yeah, there's so many parts baked into that too.
The
I think it's less repetitive than Thrill, though. I mean, Thrill is pretty repetitive with that main riff, if
I think I think it might be exactly the same. Like if we were to like write down the structure of each song, I don't think so. It's the intro riff and then the verse and then the pre-chorus and then chorus and then verse and then pre-chorus and chorus again and then bridge, which is mostly just a solo, and then pre-chorus chorus. I think it's the exact.
That's
same
almost all their songs, like broken down. But it's like you said, it all stays at the same dynamic. Whereas most of their songs, they have a different rising dynamic throughout the song, and then they cut it off for the bridge, where it creates a low point where they can bring it up for the last chorus, and really there's more of a roller coaster. Whereas this one is kind of a straight line.
I also think in a lot of their other songs, they'll take like a riff that they've used in the first, like let's say before the first chorus, they've used a riff, right? The second time that they'll play it, like between the first chorus and the second chorus, it'll be like a different version of that riff or something. They'll make some sort of adjustment so that it's unique and fresh. And I don't really think that this song does anything to try to freshen up the riffs that they've already played at the beginning of this song.
Interesting.
Like what I dig about it. That's what I mean. It's just funny that
it's easier.
We're taking the same thing, and it's like what makes me like it, what makes you like, eh.
Yeah.
I just dig that because I was listening.
This is all personal preference.
Yeah. I'm glad you found the game to like air or like tell us what you're thinking.
I found myself liking some older songs that were just repetitive as fuck. I'm like, why do I love Bandmade for how much they differentiate shit, and then I still love this. It's like there's sometimes it's just cool to have a fucking driving groove.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, and I might be like being a little bit of a. I think I'm being a little snobby here, because I'll listen to a band like Clutch. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to Clutch, but they're like a stoner rock band. Like that's as repetitive as music really gets, right? And I'll listen to it and I'll dig it. I think I just have such high expectations for Bandmade and how creative they can be and what they're I think my favorite thing about Bandmade is their creativity, right? So it's like when I feel like it might be lacking in a 4-minute area, then I'm like, oh, well, every other song I feel like they've been more creative. So
rather be listening to a different song
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like I even hear this and I'm like, oh, garbage, as much as I say that online, I hear this and I bob my head because it does have a nice groove, man. It does. And like I said, the intro riff is a really cool, like simple but cool sound and stuff like that. It's just not doing anything for me. It's just neutral.
You're just trolling.
What do you think, Alan?
I think Champ's wrong.
You do like it.
Your opinion is wrong.
What am I wrong about?
No, I already mentioned it. I think it's the key maybe in this song that it's probably secretly underlining is why it's not. That's why I like other slower songs or other repetitive songs you probably like more because they're probably in more favorable key. It's probably what you liked about that band you just mentioned because I think they play in a specific key or genre all the time, and this is outside of it. It's like the same structure, but it's outside of that. It's kind of like I would say this reminds me of structures I like, so that's probably why I like it so much. And I just like it's technical in a slow rock song. Technically, it's still even all the mainstream American songs that are played on the radio. This reminds me of those songs, but this one still has complicated like that riff, like the main lead line. You don't hear somebody playing it like
Yeah.
that. Just the way
No,
that she plays
there's some
solos.
really cool shit going on in it if you listen to it.
The album,
But
it was way better. Definitely better. It has
definitely.
way more guitar layers, and it's so cool. They have all these random like squeals that like fit
Maybe that's why
perfect.
they don't
Yeah,
play it
those
live.
harmonics in the verse.
Maybe that's why they didn't play it live, because they just know they can't do it
Yeah,
justice live.
that's
But
true.
I think they could. I see, and
I
that was
know
the
they
other
could.
thing that I was thinking. I think that if they played it live at the
Maybe.
shows that we went to, I think I would have dug it, because they would have been, because it is simpler than most of their other songs to play. I think they would have been running around and having a great
Yeah,
time with it, and
that's
blah
what
blah
I was
blah.
getting at.
And I think that that would have been, this song can be. Don't get me wrong. It's got its purpose. It's got its. And its purpose should be to play it live and get everyone in the room to groove out to it. So I am a little surprised that they didn't play it on this tour, to tell you the truth, because every time that I have heard it, I have felt like if I'm going to enjoy it, it's going to be in a live setting where this song sounds like it was designed for a live setting.
I would love to
So
hear it live.
it's kind of
too.
weird that they didn't do it.
I would love to hear it live, honestly, and see what they do with it. Because I can see Konami. This is a cool thing about this song, is that Miku can hold it down, and Konami could probably improvise live on this and get away with it very easily. Like, because this one you have room to fuck around it with it. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause I love songs
Yeah.
where you have room to mess around. Like, if something goes wrong, it's easy to recover in, because you can just like, it's not too crazy. You can do some experimental stuff live with it, change up the solo. You can do more with it, I think. Like, this is definitely one of those songs I could hear. Maybe that's another reason why they don't play it live either. It could be an inconsistent song, because they probably get bored with it and then probably improv over it. Because I can see this song being improved with a lot, you know?
I think
I don't know.
listen, you just said something though, and I wasn't really gonna say it, but I'm gonna say it now. I feel like it might not have just been this performance that they felt bored by playing this. I feel like, you know,
Okay.
I've seen them play Thrill before, you know, in more recent times, and they seem bored when they play that song also, you know. And I think that they just I think they like
wrote-
to show off a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think they would have played this, put it this way, I think they would have played this on their set list coming to America, at least at one of the shows, if they enjoyed playing it.
In
if
the
they had fun
album,
with it.
in the album Unseen World, I think this is a great song. It's such a great break in the middle of the album. That's why I
The
love
insanity.
Unseen World.
I could see that.
Unseen World's so cool because Warning has those really hard rock features with a lot of technicality in it, and you could almost say like similar structure, like Wave said, the chemical reaction, but you have like different versions of the structures. I don't know. Like, it's
and then
really
you go
good
to
at
No
album
God, and it's
concept.
just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you know, like Warning and Afterlife are like really good sort of like middle of the line.
Yeah.
They're like, this is like the sort of the neutral, the most neutral sound that you're gonna get from that album is like those two songs, right? And then you get like Chemical Reaction and Manners being sort of to the more simplistic slower songs, and then
tempo,
you have like
yeah.
Black Hole and No God that are just like speed demons and just like super complicated and stuff like that. But if I were to like compare this one to Manners, you know, for example, as those like being like sort of in the same vein, I like Manners a lot more.
Oh, me too. If I'm being honest, I probably like every other song on
They have
Unseen World.
such a different vibe though, because Manners has more of like a swung, syncopated feel to it, and this one is just straightforward, 4 on the floor rock. You know,
I do think they both have sort of like a groove though, right? Like they're more about the groove than the technical aspects of it, rather than the other songs on the album, which I think a lot of it is like focused on technical aspects. And that's they're very different songs. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, if I were to put them next to another song, it would be that song.
Yeah.
I think Manners was pitched to me as a Clutch adjacent song, like it's the most Clutch like song they have.
Oh, yeah.
That's what somebody requested
is,
to me,
right?
and it is. I heard it, I'm like, holy fuck, yeah, you're right, man.
Yeah, it kind of does
Interesting.
have that vibe because it's really groovy. Like, I think groovy songs like Clutch is a groovy group, right? Like they never really do anything technical. They come up with these paracord riffs and you groove along to it.
Yeah, the fucking drums in Clutch, goddamn.
Yeah, that's true.
Badass, dude.
Yeah,
but yeah,
the
Manners.
drummer's awesome.
I think the Miku's vocals work in Manners like makes that song for me.
Mm-hmm.
I love everything that adds so much to it. It's already a killer song, but the swagger and the vocals is.
For me, it's Konami's guitar though. Like all the little licks, she has like 4 or 5 different riffs that in the song, and they're all so like different riffs
That.
I've never that like
Yeah. See that right there, what you just said. I think that is the difference for me, right? Like
What's
that's the
missing?
big difference for me. It's like, like if like when I was learning manners, so I know how to play manners on guitar, right? And like if you know, first of all, that first riff, like with the slide down to the 12, is like it's annoying to play, but it
so much
sounds
harder
cool as hell because you're doing the slide to the 12, right? And then coming all the way back, and you have to do it over and over again. But you're right, like that 4-3-2, it's so simple, but because it's in a massive adjustment from the previous riff, I like it a lot more than like going from like My Chemical Reaction's verse to the My Chemical Reaction pre-chorus, which is like within the same vein of what the verse was doing already, just a little bit of an adjustment.
It's kind of
another
funny.
thing with manners.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Another thing with manners is the vocals are so personal, and like you were talking about earlier, I don't really know what Chemical Reaction's about, but manners is kind of telling their story, their journey to where they are now, you know? So it's got a lot more powerful vocals.
And it's got a really unique outro too, where it's like, what is it, like play it in reverse or something like that, with like there's something going on with like the piano underneath. There's like all kinds of crazy shit happening, like you know, in the production side of it also. You know, I think that I find more parts of manners. You know what I mean? There's just more parts overall, even though it's got the same kind of vibe, kind of feel to it. I think I could pinpoint each specific part more as like a memorable moment, if that makes any sense to you.
Cool. Sorry to interrupt before, Alan. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, like going with what Champ said, I will say this, even though I would say I like Chemical Reaction. I like the song, period, just because of it's a good song. It's just fucking great rating. It's a good song. But I will say, if I compare it to any other song, I will choose the other song probably over Chemical Reaction. And
any other bandmate song?
Cross?
Like an Unseen World, any
Evergreen, Unseen World.
No, I'm talking
every
about
other
like,
on that album.
I would say, because I like every single song off Unseen World. Like they're all my favorite. but Chemical Reaction would be low on the list, definitely, if like from a musician standpoint. But man,
and you know
I
what?
still love it.
Stuff I've come. Sorry, Ryan, go ahead.
So, Chemical Reaction. I know you're all going to be like, "What the fuck?" It beats out "Why" for me.
Oh,
there's moments of "Why" that I absolutely
agree.
love.
Ryan, I agree.
But the drums, I don't like the drums. Just they're like too much. I think part of it's how it's mixed. It's supposed to be mixed like a live recording session. Is like the whole intention with that song. Keeping that in mind, okay, it makes sense. But how the kick drum in that song drives me fucking crazy.
I don't think "Why" is that catchy compared to Chemical Reaction. That's my main reason.
Okay,
I don't.
This is where we're going to disagree so much. I think that is the catchiest song on the whole album.
Me too.
I think the chorus of "Why" is the one that gets stuck in my head the most.
That was the first one on Unseen World that I like really fell in love with because Miku, you know.
Wait,
I love that, dude. That's one of my favorite moments.
Their
of the whole
vocals.
Album. But after that, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna skip it.
I mean, what you mentioned about the kick drum, I actually have that with the whole album because the compression is ridiculous.
I confused it with another song.
Spotify version, at least.
Sorry, guys.
You know, the kick drum kind of.
What'd you say, Alan?
I confused it with another song. Actually, I'm thinking of another song from a different. I do like "Why." Okay. Never mind. Sorry, Brave. Good. Continue. For some reason, I was thinking. I think it was "YOLO." I think is the one that people like a lot, and I'm not a fan of as much, but that's off a different album. So
yeah.
I agree with both of you though, Ryan and Wave, that the compression. I mean, they just need. I hate to say it, but I feel like they just need a new production team, because I don't think their albums sound as good as they could sound. Like most of the time, they're a little bit. It's so weird, man. When I play that shit through my car stereo, which isn't exactly the best sound in the world, but when I compare it to other things that I'm listening to, shit comes out muffled almost. Like I feel like I'm not hearing everything that I want to hear.
Yeah, I definitely got to fiddle with everything to get it to sound like more comfortable.
Well, they like brick walled Akane's drums, so they're like the loudest thing on the track, you know, and then they have to bring everything else up to match it. So it's like such a brick wall of sound.
If you want to hear the bass, the kicks too fucking much. You can't.
Yeah, there's no headroom in the mix before they master it. It sounds like.
Alan.
So somebody brought up a really good point. I can't remember who did it. I accidentally stumbled on their video. So they compared a Polyphia song to a Band-Maid song, as far as mixing, and this is why it's so weird. When you look at a Band-Maid master track, and I pulled it up on my editor. I'm gonna try to do it while you guys are talking. But when you look at a Band-Maid track, it's completely flatlined entirely all the way through. If you look at the Polyphia track, you see spikes up and down, and you can feel the room. And
Dynamics,
the breathiness, dynamics. So that's the problem with Band-Maid tracks is they compress the fuck out of it. So that's why we all enjoy live so much better. Because
but like, Just Bring It and Domination didn't have that, did they? Or Conquer?
I'm talking about Unseen World. Like,
not nearly as bad.
It's completely compressed. I got to pull up the tracks for Domination. So I love I've been listening to World Domination like constantly. That album. I don't know, something about it just. Well, I don't know. I just been listening to it a lot.
It's like their classic rock album.
It's a great fucking album.
It's a great album.
It's awesome album. It definitely makes me think of like it's their most old school sound, but like I think that they're not sacrificing any like technical aspects or anything to get there.
So
Just Bring
back
It
to the
World.
Go ahead.
It's like Just Bring It, World Domination are definitely, they sound way better. I like the songs in Unseen World and the writing, but it doesn't sound near as good as.
I was just about to say.
You know when Alan cuts out when we're talking?
Yeah.
That's the same feeling that I get when I'm listening to Band-Maid on my car stereos, where I feel like some instruments are cutting out other instruments, and I'm like, why can I only hear one instrument at a time? This doesn't make
it's hard to hear Misa.
Back to the example I was talking about. I was specifically talking about Unseen World, and he was comparing it with that, and that was like the issue with that. And I agree with Ryan. I love the writing a lot in Unseen World, but love the mix, I would say, of the World Domination album.
What do you guys think of the new one, mix wise?
It's the same as Unseen World, in my opinion, but I don't know. I'd have to.
I think it's better than Unseen World, but I feel like it's still in the same vein as Unseen World, where like I feel some of the same issues, just not as prominently as I was feeling them in Unseen World. But I still look back at Just Bring It and World Domination as like they had perfect sound at that point, and I'm not sure why they don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, but I will say this, you know, going back to those like Freedom and Domination, those songs, for example, don't sound nearly as good in the recorded version as they do on the live versions. In my opinion. And
life that the live crowd brings to them.
I also think it's like the guitar tone, like it sounds like not as impactful, not as like aggressive on the album as it does live. Maybe that's her just turning up her levels.
I got a question for you all. I mentioned this in the video. I got to ask you guys. So when you listen to, like, I was listening to World Domination, and now when the songs come on, I have the crowd haze going on in the beginning in my head. And I'm like,
definitely.
And I'm like, hey, I'm like, where's the haze? I'm like, oh yeah, it's not in the CD.
It's missing something, man. It's missing
I agree though, Champ. It's like for Freedom, at least, like she was using some kind of basic overdrive for the guitar, and now she's maybe that was before she had her Mesa, where she has that, you know.
It could be that she's just gotten new equipment and now it sounds better with the new equipment, right? But when they, you know, that first Freedom video that everybody watched, that official live one, wasn't that long. You know, it wasn't that far into their careers, and I think that the sound on that is like exorbitantly better than the sound on the album.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, we talked a lot about other stuff that's not Chemical Reaction.
I know we got like a full bonus podcast here.
There you go, guys. Band-Maid production podcast.
There you go. I'm gonna label like that on the membership, so just gonna label
the Band-Maid production podcast.
Oh man,
BMPP.
All right, let me